is in the chat. Anselix, hello. This is Jeff. I just put things up to test it out. Can you hear me all right? Very good. Hello, Debbie. All right. Yes, I don't have the picture on just yet. We will put the picture on, obviously, soon. Just testing things out. We'll be back in about 10 minutes or so. Static in the background. How bad is it? I can try to go get an external mic. Sound quality okay? Right, static is probably my laptop's fan. I'll be right back. I'm going to grab a mic, see if that'll help things. Alright, is this any better? It may not have changed anything. Okay, well, let me plug it in different spots. Testing sound now. Okay, well, we'll go with this. Christine's going to be a little bit late. I've only got one mic, so we're going to be sharing the mic. But she'll be late, so I'll start talking by myself. All right, back in 5. All right. Let's see. Are we live? Somebody give me a thumbs up if you can hear me and or see me. We'll see how bad the delay is. Somebody type in Captain Quicks as soon as you hear me say it. We'll see how bad my delay is here. All right. Well, you didn't spell it right, Debbie, but close enough. Okay. So it's about 5 seconds or so, 8 seconds. All right. I'm going to, my camera's over here, my chat window's over here, my whole control panel. We will be, let's see. Let's see how this goes. All right, let's escape out of that there. All right, we'll go to that when we need to. Okay, let me see. What did I miss in chat here? Bonacor's in there talking about poker, and people are in. Okay, nice surfboard in the back there. Surfboard. There's no surfboard behind me. That's an airplane propeller clock that the Bgg Sea bags are hanging on, if that's what you're talking about. Or there's an ironing board back there. Ironing board, yeah. Okay. Sorry, I should have closed the door to the hallway. Not used to streaming. All right, well, welcome everyone. We're going to talk about Bgg at Sea. We're going to talk about the exciting things coming up for all of us in August. And we'll talk a little bit about what we have in store for years to come and answer everyone's question along the way. I am trying to watch the chat. I might start to ramble a bit and I might miss a question, but we'll go back and catch up all the questions as we go. Let's see. Christine is currently dealing with Bgg store issues. She's online up in the office, up in the hangar. She's going to come down and join me as soon as she can, and hopefully we'll get her insight as well, because she probably will think of things that I will forget. So we took a preview of our cruise in August about a month ago, exactly a month ago. We were almost finishing May 4th through 11. We went down to Miami and got on board the Symphony of the Seas and sailed the exact same itinerary that we have coming up. And we didn't do all of the exact same shore excursions as we'll talk about that the group is sponsoring, but we do have some good things to go in store. I'm basically going to organize this kind of day by day. That's the best way I could think of to go through it all. If you have any questions, throw them into the chat as it may relate to a specific day, and we'll get to it. Anything's fair game here. Okay. First off, let's see. Let me just set expectations here a little bit. I am not a professional streamer. I am also not a very good photographer. I don't have 20 pictures for every day, and I don't take a lot of pictures, but I did try and capture some as we go along. All right, let me see some questions before we get started in here, just general, just throwing some questions in there for later. Oh, thanks, Debbie. Okay. Question number 1, how much do you love Bonacor? Well, let's just kick things off right, shall we? Let's see, I can get rid of that image there, and yes, there is Bonacor and the lovely Paula. So Christine and I flew into Miami Friday morning, we took our daughters. If you saw the picture, the picture will come back up here in a bit. We took our 2 adult daughters with us on the cruise. We flew in Miami and relaxed a little bit. I actually got to have lunch with some of my Royal Caribbean contacts that I had only ever met over the phone. And so we had lunch with them in Miami. That afternoon, we drove up to Fort Lauderdale and had dinner with these lovely folks, Stephen Bonacore from Stronghold Games and Pauline from Stronghold Games, Pauline Milano. They took us to a very nice Italian place there in Fort Lauderdale and had some good time with them. Stephen was with us and Paula were with us last year in Alaska and had a great time. Stephen will once again be sponsoring our shore excursions, our group shore excursions that we'll talk about. And we canceled one of the excursions, but he's agreed to give that game, Piratoons, away to everybody on the cruise, whether you come on a shore excursion or not. So every cabin gets a copy of Piratoons. Lovely dinner there. Just for the record, in case any of my church friends are watching, that beer is in front of Stephen and the wine in front of Paula. I had a nice ginger ale. Stephen and I joke about his alcohol consumption and my lack thereof. Okay, let's see. That evening, I'm trying to get this slideshow to work here. Come on. Previous thinking. All right. Have we locked it up already? Well, I can't get Stephen's face off my screen. All right, well, let's see if we can get that worked out. I had this slideshow all set up nicely, and I've got a bunch of other pictures to look at here. Well, while my laptop tries to catch up here, let me talk a little bit about pre-day Friday. We did stay at the Hyatt Regency in Miami, and I have emailed out everyone and posted to the forums that we have a block set up. Someone emailed me the other day that block might be full. I need to check on that. We should be able to add more rooms to that block as needed. It's just a nice discount code at the Hyatt Regency, which is downtown Miami, very close to the port. They are graciously giving us some space to play games in the night before, and it's a fantastic room rate, $109 for the evening. Which might be why it's sold out. I'll see if I can get some more rooms added. And I am talking with them about possibly getting some kind of transportation set up from that hotel out to the port. I don't have the specifics on that yet. They do have a transportation company that they're going to look into that. I'm sure we'll be able to get something worked out. There will probably be, certainly be some nominal charge per person to get out to the port, but we'll see what we can get figured out there. So details to come on that. All right. Speaking of transfers, if you are coming in the day of, you can get a transfer from either the Fort Lauderdale Airport or Miami International on a Royal Caribbean bus that will take you right out to the cruise port. Some of you have booked that already. There is the order summary sheet that talks about everything you've bought based on your cabin number, and there's a column in there for transfers. Someone asked me, what does that column mean? There's 2 numbers with a slash there, A2C/C2A. That's my little shorthand for if you bought a transfer from the airport to the cruise port, A to C, airport to cruise port, slash C2A is if you bought a transfer after we're done with the sailing to get from the cruise port back out to the airport. So that's what those numbers mean in there. Please, and I'll mention it again, please check that spreadsheet. You've had it in your email to make sure your purchases match my record of purchases. I'd hate for you to not have bought a badge or a shore excursion ticket thinking that you did. So make sure you have your cabin number. And if you need your email that includes your cabin number and your Royal Caribbean confirmation number, I can always resend that email to you, but hopefully you have that already. With that Royal Caribbean confirmation number, you can go online to Royal Caribbean and to their cruise planner, and right now you can check in online. You can book shore excursions, drink packages, specialty dining, everything that you have that you need there. Internet packages, combo drink packages. Some of those things you can book through us, through our events store, but you're not required to. You are required to book a cabin through me, and if you want to be in the game room playing games, you have to buy a badge through us. We also have shore excursions. Internet, you can do that elsewhere. There is my lovely wife, Christine.
Hello.
Okay, so this is going to be a good test to how well you can hear Christine when she says something. Say something, my dear.
Hello. Welcome.
Okay. Because of static, we're going off this mic here, and we'll kind of just share it back and forth.
Sure.
All right, I've just been talking about our Friday. We met Stephen for lunch.
Yep.
Or for dinner, and then the getting on board the ship kinds of things, because my slideshow over here is locking up the screen, and it won't go away.
Yeah, well.
So
moving on.
Yeah, let me see if I need to force quit it. Let's force quit preview and see what happens. All right. Well, that killed that. Okay. Okay. Let's go back to here. Here's what we'll do. We will make this big and go this way. We won't see the pictures quite as big. All right, let's unselect everything. Sorry guys, you're dealing with non-professionals here. All right. Okay, we're up in the top corner, and we've got pictures down below.
Have you answered the questions in the chat yet?
No, I'm just going to look in the chat here. Okay, so Debbie threw some questions in for later that we'll get to.
Okay. Ironing board, there is no iron on the ship. It's a fire hazard. If you want your clothes pressed, you will have to use the ship's pressing service and pay for it. So there is hair dryers provided, but there are no ironing boards.
Okay. Just so you know, that actually wasn't a question. They were commenting on our background here, and you can see our ironing board through the door.
Yeah, well.
But it was a good question to answer, even though it wasn't asked.
There you go.
All right.
How many people?
How many people? All right, let me bring that up over here. We are currently sitting at 191 people in 95 cabins. We will get it in by midnight, and you can still join us. That's kind of why we're doing this today. So anyone who's watching that's not already booked, you can still book as long as you make your deposit and final payment on the store. And there's still time to join us. Let's make it an even 100 cabins, but we're getting really close to that.
Shared shuttle, you'll have to put that in the thread, in the forum threads, and see if anybody wants to share a shuttle with you.
Well, I did talk about the Hyatt, We have a block there, and the Hyatt is looking at getting a shuttle from the Hyatt out to the port.
Okay.
And then right when you came down, I was talking about the other transfers that are from the airports to the cruise port. So we answered that already.
All right.
We'll get to Labadee Excursion later. We'll get to Hairspray later. All right. The room rate listed king beds only is the way to stitch that 2-bedroom. We should have double queen rooms as well, and it's probably just sold out. So I will call the hotel tomorrow if I get a chance to add king and add more double queen beds, because I know there were some to begin with. All right. She sound fine, a little echoey.
No.
Bonacore looks great. More questions have been okay. Excursion. No, the excursion deadline is not tonight. The deadline tonight is only buying your cabin. The deadline for everything else, whether it be excursions, badges for the game room, transfers, internet, travel protection, all of those extras, that deadline is July 1st.
So you have a couple weeks.
You have a couple weeks. But the final payment deadline for the cabins is tonight. Okay.
How early? You get to the port. If you've done the check-in process, it'll let you choose a time that you're going to arrive. And I think the earliest I've seen is noon. It might be possible for you to arrive earlier, but as far as the check-in process, it might only let you come as early as noon.
Okay, let's get to check-in because we're still at Friday dinner. We'll get to check-in here in just a minute. All right.
Okay. And then it looks like there's a bunch of other questions.
Yeah, Debbie's brought in some more questions from the forums. We'll get to those that in a little bit. Okay, so we dinner with the Bonacores. Then we something fun to do in Miami. We went to Anastasia with the girls. I don't know if it's still playing, but that was a fun show up in Fort Lauderdale. Let's see. Let me skip ahead here a little bit. That actually gets us on board the ship for the next one. So let's talk about the check-in process. I don't have any pictures from check-in. So check-in actually was very smooth. It was a mass of people. They told us not to come until 12:31 because there was a U.S. Customs, a Coast Guard inspection.
Yeah.
So they warned us to come later. I can't remember if I put that into an email, but you want to get the app.
It's called the Royal app. They had a previous one. Don't use that one. You're looking for the Royal app. Yeah,
the previous one was Navigator or Compass Cruiser or something, but you want to look at Royal. It's just the blue there, and you can check in on the app and actually take your picture and everything. Let's see.
If you use the app to check in and upload a picture, or you can do it on the desktop, either way, when you check in, basically your set sail pass will be on the app, and you'll show up at a person. They'll scan your pass, make sure your picture matches your face, and you're in. You don't pick up keys, you don't pick up any extras, they check to make sure that your picture matches, and then you go through security, and then you're on the boat. Yeah, it was very smooth to get on, and getting off the boat was also very smooth. We'll talk about that in a little bit. The app is useful while you're on the ship as well. You can book dinner, you can book a show, you can navigate around the ship, get to your cabin if you've lost yourself in the buffet. All kinds of good stuff in the app. The one thing it doesn't have, or didn't have in May, that the previous app, if you sailed with us 2 years ago on the Harmony of the Seas, the previous app had a interflight
family messaging system. You could pay, $5 or
I don't know if you even had to do that.
some nominal fee, and you could message each other, like text each other through the app while you're on board the ship without paying for internet or a cell package for your phone or anything like that. It was built into the app. In May, that the app did not have that. They told us they wanted to get it in there. They could not promise that it would be there by August. So we don't know yet whether that will be there. All right. Is it the Royal Caribbean International app? I believe that is it. It should be that app. It's just the anchor. It just says Royal there. And not all of their ships are on the app yet, but Symphony is one of them that is. Otherwise, it's fairly standard checking in. We took an Uber. No, actually, the hotel. The hotel drove us over, which was nice of them. Just drove straight in, luggage, porters, normal kinds of things. Tip the porter when he takes your luggage. Print out your luggage tags ahead of time, which you will get that. You can do that when you check in online. You can print out your documents ahead of time. Make sure you have your passport, your whatever you need to get on board the ship. Passport not strictly required, but highly, highly, highly recommended. If you have problems in St. Martin and have to be flown home, you will have an issue if you don't have a passport with you. Okay.
If you forget to print, the Hyatt does have a business center and you can print for free.
Yes, yeah. Good to know. If you're staying with us in the Hyatt.
Yeah.
Not everybody is. All right, let's look at these questions really quick from Debbie, just so they don't get lost. No irons, no power strips, extension cords. They will confiscate them and return them to you upon return. That is absolutely correct. When we walked out, we saw a table of power cords that people could now pick back up once they're
and
at
if
the end of the ship.
you're planning on bringing a steamer for your clothing, that will also get confiscated.
Yeah.
No steamers. I saw those.
Yeah, but they have a great press laundry service on board the ship. So, will there be a bring a game, take a game from the forums? I don't think we're planning on doing that. We didn't do it last time in Alaska. I think we're kind of getting away from worrying about that, especially since Bonacore is already bringing a game for everybody.
No need to add more to your luggage. So
any secret special locations on the ship? No, just explore the ship on your own. There's all kinds of cool things to see. We got around to most of it. I guess one place we enjoyed was Jazz on 4.
Yeah.
That was really nice. Down on level 4, which is kind of the entertainment district. That's where the ice skating rink is, and a couple of lounges, and then there was a really cool jazz lounge down there. If you've seen La La Land, not to spoil the ending of it, but at the end there's a cool jazz hangout there that was kind of like that.
There's also an escape room, which might be a little tough to find, but and it is different. If you did the Harmony, it is not the same room. So feel free to check that one out too.
Yeah, it's named the same, Escape the Rubicon, but it's a completely different theme and puzzles and everything. We enjoyed that quite a bit. Have you ever done the after return RCR excursions that include transit to the airport? We did not this time, but on the Harmony out of Fort Lauderdale, we did the Port Everglades.
We went to the Everglades, yeah.
Yeah, we did a alligator retreat and checked that out, and then they took us to the airport, and that worked great. It was a lot of fun.
Great big charter bus. Leave your luggage on there, and
yeah. So those excursions, Miami excursions, include usually, and they'll tell you if they do, they include transportation to your airport. You don't need to buy a separate transfer back out to the airport if you've got the excursion. When will bookings open up for 2020? We're going to talk about 2020 later. Can we pay a bit more per person to get one of the suites and turn it into a gaming room in 2020? Nope, not going to happen. That just won't work. The suites are crazy expensive, and it wouldn't work as a game room anyway. Okay.
All right.
So I have all of our cruise compasses here. We didn't get day 1 or day 2. Day 2 is at sea.
Your first 2 days are at sea.
Day 1 is actually getting on board the ship. Day 2 is Sunday cruising. Day 3, Monday cruising. I spent Sunday in the pool learning how to scuba. That's what I did on this last cruise. I got my scuba certification since I wasn't running a game event at the same time. And that was a lot of fun. So my excursions in St. Martin and Puerto Rico were all scuba related. And I don't have any pictures of any of that. But we will talk about the excursions we're going to be doing there. Days at sea, as you know, it's board gaming 24/7. Other things we did. Let's see, we did this, and I don't know if this will pick up, but this is one of 2 ice shows, and something that blew me away I had never seen before. This one, it was really cool. It's kind of a Doctor Who meets Guardians of the Galaxy from a music perspective, 70s music,
Sure.
all kinds of stuff. So let's switch over here and just a couple of seconds of this. Actually, there's not going to be any audio because my mic is currently using my audio track.
That's okay.
So imagine some cool The Who or some other 70s soundtrack back in there. This is just the very start of the ice show, and I just thought it was amazingly cool. Those are nice little drones going around, and then the ice skaters come out. Very well worth seeing. All of the both ice shows were fantastic.
Yes, that really was drones.
That was drones. I didn't want to spoil the surprise, but it's the very first thing in the show, and that was only a tiny snippet of it. It's amazing. Very cool to see. So then, let's see. Oh, there we go. That was that there. Okay, Hairspray. We saw Hairspray. Hairspray was fantastic. Very high caliber, as if you were on Broadway. Really good to see. We saw the other ice show that I don't have any pictures of. We saw Flight. Is that what they called it? And that was... I love airplanes. That show was not what I expected it to be. It had some really cool things to it. It's mostly a music review. The airplane connection wasn't super strong, but it was fun and had good dancers and good music. So Flight was worth seeing. It had some
interesting air choreography.
It did have some air choreography. That's right. Yeah, and I don't want to spoil too much more than that.
We're just gonna leave it there.
Yeah.
And Hero, oh my goodness.
Hero is the water show, and if you were with us on Harmony, you were blown away by the water show. This one on Symphony that took it to 11. This takes it to 15. I mean, it was even more amazing than the one on Harmony.
Good.
Very, very cool. That Hero was amazing, fantastic. Book those now if you can. Go onto the Cruise Planner on Royal Caribbean and book those shows now because they will fill up and they will sell out. They don't cost anything. You just have to reserve your tickets ahead of time. And in some cases, it's based on your cabin number as to which nights you're allowed to reserve those tickets. But well worth doing. There is always a standby line if the show you want to do is sold out.
Yeah.
But speaking of booking your tickets, 2 things to save time for, to not block. Day 1, Saturday, 7 p.m., I think. It's either 7 or 7:30. We have a welcome reception in, I think it's the Crown Loft Lounge. We'll get all that information out, but block that hour. Open bar to some degree. There will be, free hors d'oeuvres, free drinks. I think we've even got free live music. For an hour, we just have a reception to get to know everybody. That is where you will get your badge for the game room. That is where you will get your prizes from Stronghold Games. We will actually have the game room generally not available until after that welcome reception. So that 7 o'clock will be your first chance to get to meet everybody. When you get on board the ship at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, go explore the ship. Learn about it. Your cabin may or may not be open yet. Go grab some lunch.
The cabins are usually open at 1 o'clock, and your room keys will be at your cabin.
Right, yes. If it works the same as it did in May, you will basically show your boarding pass and get all the way through to the ship without getting your actual cabin keys. They'll be in an envelope sitting outside your cabin door. And then your luggage will show up possibly after dinner later. But explore the ship and then come meet us at 7 o'clock or 7:30. Watch your email, watch the forums for that welcome reception. Get your badge, get your games, get to know everybody, and then the game room is open. Then we go down to the conference center and game room is open. So that's day one. Let's see if we have any questions for day one.
No, there will be no birthday singing.
There will not be any birthday singing. It is not anybody's birthday in August.
Yeah.
That was a one time only, and not doing that again.
On the keys, they typically only put one key in the out front. If there are other keys, other people in the room, they will likely put those inside the room. So just check that.
Yeah, it's generally, if someone else steals your room for you, your stateroom attendant will work that all out, and they'll quickly figure out who made the mistake. There's nothing of value in your room yet. Your luggage won't show up till later. So, all right, Hero booked. Good for you. Okay, the Ice Show, 1977. That one sold out, or you needed tickets for that. The other Ice Show, I think, didn't need tickets or something.
Right.
Actually, I've got it. So let's talk about the shows.
If you look at the Royal app, it'll tell you which ones, or the Cruise Planner, it'll tell you which ones you need to actually have reservations for. So just check that. It'll tell you which ones. Okay,
so shows. We talked about Hairspray, 1977. That was the one that I was talking about with the drones. Ice Skate 2.0 was the other skate show. That was really good as well. They were showing Bohemian Rhapsody that night.
You're looking for the
Astros. Ice Skate did not need reservations. Okay. Hero.
The comedy shows
Flight.
Typically don't.
Yeah. There's. Let's see.
Oh, by the way, there's laser tag.
There's laser tag. So, okay, I'm going to put this up here. Obviously, the shows are subject to change. But if you screenshot that and look at it, the week may be different. But there you go. Pause, read, whatever. Okay. All the different shows there. Okay, what else do we have here? The Internet at Sea. In the past, if you bought internet, you would get a little code. It's not that way anymore. And in fact, I think my discounted internet listing on our store talks about giving you a code ahead of time so that you would have internet as soon as you got on board the ship. They don't do the codes anymore. It is tied specifically to your name, your cabin number. You create an account when you get on board. So I will need to know, for those of you who've bought internet, and I'll work this out through email, who is the account holder so that it gets tied to the name in the cabin if you've bought internet. But once you're there, you create an account, boom, it'll recognize you've already paid for it, and you're off and running. All right. The internet, it says it's the fastest internet at sea. I wouldn't count on streaming with it.
It might be the fastest internet at sea, but it is not the fastest internet you've ever had.
They advertise that you can surf and stream. I didn't try all that hard, but streaming would be difficult. Our daughters tried to download a movie on my iPad with it, and I don't think it ever completed.
No.
So take that for what it is. It's certainly good for email, Facebook, whatever. We never had an issue, but just streaming, not so much. Teens, I think we have a few teens coming on board. They have their very own lounge and a schedule full of all kinds of stuff to do, hanging out. Similarly, the younger ones, Adventure Ocean, Kids Daily Planner. This is just one example for day 2. And the kids stuff is fantastic on there. I do have a day 2 cruise compass. All right. Well, we didn't get day 1, but good enough.
Day 1 doesn't have anything.
Yeah, day 1's just getting on board the ship. So day 2, gaming, shows, activities, learning how to shop, blah, blah, blah. Day 3 on board the ship as well. We're still cruising. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse on the outdoor theater. I actually went to that. That was fun. Then we get to day 4, St. Martin. Okay, let's catch up here. Any other questions? Too late on the question. What night will we do poker? I might have already booked a conflict, but want to check. Haven't decided for sure. Probably day 2 for poker tournament.
Probably.
Yeah, since the next day is at sea as well.
We'll give you a better picture later.
Yeah.
For those of you asking questions about your specific account, shoot Jeff an email directly and ask those questions, and then he can get back to you.
Okay, we paid our balance last week. Has it been updated on a spreadsheet? Everything as of this morning has been booked, updated on the spreadsheet. Somebody I saw, I've still got 3 or 4 people haven't made their final payment yet. One of them did this afternoon. I have not updated the spreadsheet. 2 more just did within the last hour or so. Haven't updated the spreadsheet, so it looks like we're just down to 1 holdout. But otherwise, we're in pretty good shape. Audio video is lagging pretty badly. We may have missed it. We paid our balance. Okay, so yeah, I just answered that question just now. Okay. Okay. Thanks, Debbie, for throwing that into the chat. Is it too late to add another person to our room? Okay, well that depends. Probably not. I can probably still do just about anything. If you're a single and you're adding a second one to make it double, piece of cake, no problem. If you're currently a triple and want to go to 4 people, no problem. Your cabin already handles that. If adding a person requires us to change cabins because it won't hold that extra person, then we need to talk, and maybe shoot me an email right now, or let's talk on the phone, after we're done here. I might give you a call or something to figure out what needs to happen. If it's a change in cabins, I can probably still do it, especially if we still already have that cabin type. If I don't have that cabin type in my inventory already, it's probably going to be cost prohibitive to make any kind of a change. But if it's something within what we already have in the group, then should be no problem at all.
Okay. St. Martin.
All right, let's talk about St. Martin. St. Martin, beautiful. St. Martin, we've actually been to St. Martin. The Harmony sailing 2 years ago, we went to St. Martin. So that's the one repeated port. When we went to St. Martin last time, that was before we were doing group shore excursions. Mm-hmm. And so you and I went to the Butterfly Enclosure and then a French bakery. Yep. The Butterfly Enclosure, unfortunately, was wiped out in the hurricane. Has not reopened yet. St. Martin was talking about the hurricane quite a bit. A lot has been rebuilt. We did not see any hurricane damage in St. Martin. It's been taken care of, but they were still talking about it for sure.
We will say it was really dry, and so unless they've gotten a lot of rain lately, it's going to look a little browner than normal.
Yeah, yeah, it
but
was fairly brown. So what we did in St. Martin is I went scuba diving and you went zip lining.
Yep.
And got horribly sunburned. Or no, you did that on board the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wear your sunscreen, people. Christine got really badly sunburned, and it affected the whole rest of the week. So
not horribly. I was able to do everything that we planned on.
Right.
Anyway.
And then the other cool thing.
The excursion that we're doing in St. Martin is
well, I wanted to show this first. We're not doing this, but if you're not doing our shore excursion, you know, I love airplanes, and so I did take a taxi out to Maho Beach. It was a piece of cake. Really not hard to do. There's taxis that run back and forth. I think it was $15 for the round trip. I was not able to be out there because I had a meeting with our shore excursion tour operator to get back to. So I didn't get to see any of the big jets, but they do have a sign just to the left of where I am right here. They have a sign posted on when the big jets are going to come in. There's 3 or 4 of them throughout the day, and you could be there for when the big jets come in and land. Of course, this is really awesome. I just showed you a couple of videos, and it's not on the screen. So let me switch screens real quick. You need to help me with that. So this right here,
about the not tech savvy person.
This right here is what they are all seeing, not this here. Okay, so talking about Maho Beach really quick, I just wanted to show this off. Like I said, I saw some of the puddle jumpers come in, but none of the big jets there. So this is Maho Beach, easy taxi ride back and forth, piece of cake. And it's really cool. I don't have the sound turned on, but you can see when the big jets come in. They come in, when I was there, they came in later in the afternoon, like 2 o'clock or so. But I had a meeting I had to get back to for that. And then there's another one here of a great big airplane taking off. The sound is pretty amazing. I'm just going to talk through that so you can kind of see that going on in the background. So St. Martin, the cruise, the specialty excursion that we are doing is similar to one that we did in Jamaica.
Just as a family.
Just as a family, we did, and that was a walking tour. We're not going to be walking, but it was a food tour, basically. Go to 3 or 4 different spots and sample different kinds of cuisine. So in St. Martin, we're going to be in air-conditioned buses, and you're going to go to kind of a Creole place, kind of a French place, and kind of a Dutch place. And not every van is going to go to the same place. But everyone's going to have a similar mix of the different kinds of things that are available in St. Martin. I think everyone's going to get a rum punch if you go in for that. There will be non-alcoholic versions as well. I will need to know if anyone has any severe peanut allergies or other kinds of allergies, and I'll work that out through email and such if you booked that shore excursion. Originally, Stephen, Stronghold Games, had offered Kitchen Rush as the thematic game for that excursion. Unfortunately, that is out of print, and the reprint is indeterminate. It's going to happen, just he doesn't know the timing on it. And so instead, he is giving everyone the boldest. And I'm told in that game, the chef or the cook is a very significant part of that game. So there you go. That will be St. Martin. I think I'd originally talked about it being staggered. You know, one van leaves at 10, another one leaves at 10:30, another one at 11, 11:30. I'm still working out the details. We're currently at 3 vans, and I'm trying to get them all to leave at 10 o'clock just to get everybody out and back at the same time, and we, share stories and experiences. I'm not positive that'll work. I'm also trying to get it cheaper. You may have noticed there's a Royal Caribbean version of a very similar excursion. It's not the exact same one we're doing, but it's similar, and so I'm trying to leverage that to say, hey, give me some better pricing. And I don't have the specifics on that yet. If we get the better pricing, I will, refund everyone the difference. But that one's getting close to sold out at the 3 van level. If we get the better pricing, I'm hoping that'll bump us up into 4 vans. Again, group shore excursions, due date or final deadline to purchase those is July 1st. So that is St. Martin. Let's see if there's any questions about St. Martin.
Non-seafood options, not sure.
All right, let's just go through these here. Sly Fox, game recommendations. How do we access Geek List to make game requests? I will put that Geek List up in the next week or two and email everybody that it's there. I've been sending out about monthly emails, give or take, every 3 to 4 weeks. And so the next one will have a link to a Geek List where you can request 1 or 2 games. It'll probably be 2 games per person, we'll see, to be brought from the Bgg library. What games played? Generally, in the Euro style, but we've had heavy war games if you want and get a group going. RPGs, we've done RPGs before, and in fact, I'm starting a D&D 5th edition campaign for my teenage son and his friends. I'm kind of thinking a lot about 5th edition right now. I'd be interested in a one-shot, either playing as a character or I might be able to be talked into DMing it. So role-playing games certainly there. And those kinds of, if you've been to BGG Con or BGG Spring, that's what Bgg Sea is, same kind of games, is, the majority of what's played, Spiel des Jahres, Kenner Spiel des Jahres kind of games. But anything could be played as a one-off. I think we've played War of the Ring, maybe. I've brought Firefly before. Anything's fair game. Just work it out ahead of time through the forums. Specialty restaurants, any of them worth it? Oh,
and we will have other games. Sometimes we think of other games in addition to what's in the Geek List, but we try to keep it to the Geek List plus a few. We can't afford to bring the entire library. So if you really, really want to play it, make sure it's in the Geek List.
Yeah. Multi-day games. Sure, if you came with us to Alaska, you know that I did a full campaign of 504. Now, not a full campaign, but I played all 9 modules in every position, and so that was 9 games of 504 across the 2 weeks. That was a lot of fun. An RPG, it doesn't have to be a one-shot. We could play D&D over the course of 3 days, put things together. So sure. Okay, Debbie asks, specialty restaurants, any of them worth it? Absolutely. I don't know if it's still going to be called Jamie's Italian, because Jamie went out of business. Jamie Oliver went out of business. Well, he's restructuring or something, but Jamie's Italian is fantastic. We've done the sushi place, Izumi. Izumi. I've done it for sushi. I did the sushi class there 2 years ago, and we've done it for the hibachi grill. Was fantastic.
They have a new one on the Symphony. It's called Hooked.
Hooked, yeah, seafood place.
And it's all seafood.
We did not try it, but heard good things. Chop's Grill is a fantastic steakhouse. So
and there's Wonderland, which is a modern take on food.
Yeah, if you're a foodie, really avant-garde, I hear Wonderland is great. Haven't done it myself because I don't fit into that crowd, but
yeah.
But yeah, they're certainly worth trying.
Yes, there is a fee, but considering the per person rate that they charge you and the food you get, it's actually pretty reasonable. Yeah,
it's really not bad. And if you want to try 3 or 4 of them, get a package, a multi-package where you can do throughout the week. We've done that before. We probably won't do it this time, but certainly worth doing. Okay. Non-seafood options for the St. Martin Bgg excursion. Absolutely. In fact, I don't think it's not going to be seafood at every place by any means. I think you go to a French bakery and get a pastry. So there'll be a variety there. Okay.
I think you talked about that.
Can't we have a later leaving shuttle to 10 a.m. was
cruise for the excursion.
For the excursion. We had it basically. It's you're on a bus for about 3 hours going to different places. 2.5 at least. Let's see. Let me just look to see what the excursion is here. It's a 4-hour tour, and so we wanted to hit around lunchtime, and we have to be back on the ship. Actually, St. Martin's not that bad. 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock, not too bad. Puerto Rico is early, 3 o'clock. So some of the timing plays in there. Are these excursions sanctioned by the cruise line? Absolutely. If we are late, the ship will wait for us. Yes, these excursions are all official Royal Caribbean, so we have that protection. All right. When do we get our game room badges? Yes, you get your game room badges at the welcome party. Game room will not be open until after the welcome party. So explore the ship, check out your cabin, grab lunch at the buffet in the Windjammer. 7 o'clock or 7:30, I can't remember. The welcome reception is when you get your badges, and then after that, the game room is open. All right, that's St. Martin.
There's also a new public restaurant up on, it's not the same, I don't think it's the same deck as the Windjammer, but it's a little Mexican place. You can get burritos and tacos and nachos if that suits you.
Yeah, and that was free, I believe.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So there are a fair number of free-to-eat places, and then a few still pay-to-eat places. Okay, let's see. I think this was us leaving St. Martin.
No, that was helicopter pad.
Yeah, but this is us. This was a departure, but I'm pretty sure it was after we left St. Martin. So Christine and I, since we were, kind of travel agents or whatever, we got invited to a sail away party and got to go down onto the helicopter pad. And I'm pretty sure this was as we were leaving St. Martin there. There we go. And this was...
That's Puerto Rico.
Was that Puerto Rico? Okay, so let's talk about Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico. Day 5. All right. I am excited about Puerto Rico. Our excursion here is something I've wanted to do for a long time. Now, I have been there before. For those of you who may or may not know, I served as a missionary in Puerto Rico for 2 years back when I was 19 and 20 years old. And so Puerto Rico is, I just love it. In fact, move your head. If you can see in the background there,
you have to change your camera.
Changing cameras, I've got a poster of Puerto Rico there as part of things that are important to me in my office. Anyway, so I love Puerto Rico. And I know Puerto Rico like a native because I was not a tourist by any means. The group shore excursion is going to go out to the Arecibo telescope, which up until a few years ago, until China took it away from us, was the largest single dish radio telescope in the world. It is in the bowl of a valley. If you've seen GoldenEye, you've seen this radio telescope. If you've seen Contact, movie with Jodie Foster in it, you've seen this telescope. In Contact, it was the real telescope. In GoldenEye, it was a evil, villain's lair. But anyway, we're going to take a bus out there to see that telescope. We'll be out there for about, let's see, I actually have...
A couple hours.
Well, I have the itinerary here from the tour group. So this is all day. This will take our entire time in Puerto Rico. We're only in Puerto Rico, for 8 hours, 7 a.m. We have to be back on board the ship 2:30 p.m. We sail away at 3. So it's a short day, and our entire portion will be involved with this excursion. If you're doing this excursion with us. If there's something else you want to do in Puerto Rico, don't book the BGG group excursion. Go do something else. We will leave the ship at 7:30 a.m. We will drive about an hour and a half on a air-conditioned bus, a nice big motor coach here. This is the breakdown that I have from the tour operator. About an hour and a half bus ride out there, air-conditioned, with a tour guide giving us some history of Puerto Rico. It's very scenic. It winds through kind of along the north coast. That is the twist this. Okay, so that's the bus route to get there. Port is up here.
Excuse me.
Well, anyway, on the kind of the northeast, and then we drive through the island up into the mountains to get to the telescope. We will be at the observatory for about an hour and a half, give or take. Again, we're on a very tight schedule. Then it's about 45 minutes back up to the coast up here. That's the telescope, up to Salitre, which is a restaurant right on the beach. I've not been to that restaurant before, but I do have their menu. I had originally said we would offer full menu access to everyone, and you're on your own, get whatever you want. So talking with the tour operator, because the schedule is just so tight, we're not going to be able to do that. So I'm going to put together, they've already suggested a limited menu for me. I might add a couple of options because, again, I love Puerto Rican food and I know what the natives eat. So I might tweak the menu a little bit. But if you've booked this excursion, basically when we get on board the bus at the pier, at the port, that morning, 7:30 a.m., you'll fill out a quick little form, check a couple of boxes as to what you want for lunch. And then while we're driving out there or at the telescope, they will call ahead to the restaurant and put the order in so that we have the right number of the right dishes. Because we only have about an hour at the restaurant before we have to get back on the bus. It's about an hour and 10 minutes to drive back out to the pier. 6 hours total. We've only got about 7.5 while the ship is docked, and so we need some buffer, we need some wiggle room. We want to make sure we're not late and all that, but it should be a fantastic excursion. Really excited about that. Okay, let me jump into the chat here. And by the way, again, this is another Royal Caribbean approved excursion. The tour operating company that put this tour together for us does basically all of Royal Caribbean's tours in Puerto Rico, or at least most of them. So they're very experienced. They've been doing this for many, many years. This one is a custom one-off. They've never done this before, and nobody else on board the ship will get access to it. Something I put together just because I wanted to show kind of the part of the island you don't normally necessarily get to see, the non-touristy part. And I wanted a true, authentic Puerto Rican meal. When we were there back in May, I finished off my scuba certification, and then I had lunch with this tour operating company at a restaurant they recommended that was 2 blocks off of the port, an authentic Mexican place called Raices. If you don't do our excursion, but you're looking for a place to go to eat, go to Raices, R-A-I-C-E-S. It means races, and it actually is very authentic and talks about the history of Puerto Rico, the different races that are there, the slaves that came over, the indigenous Taínos that lived there originally, the Europeans. And it was a very authentic, very good meal that we had. So that's another recommendation from me. All right, questions for Puerto Rico. All right, well, I'm going to pick back up questions, and then we'll see if any Puerto Rican questions come in. All right. Is the game room locked during the week? How do we access it? It is not locked, and in fact, it is part of an emergency exit, and at least for crew as well. So it will be open 24/7. There will be a sign out front that says, private event, but you can get into it at any time. Can we bring food and drink into the game room? Yes. However, there is no wait staff. There is no support staff that checks the room out. So if you go get a plate from the buffet, we ask that you take that plate back up to the buffet. There's no busing of dishes of any kind. And so we ask that you take whatever you brought in back out again. But you can bring food in. There will be water stations in the room as well. All right. If kids are well behaved, can the kids stay in the game room on their own? We ask that there be a supervising adult for any kid in the room. A 17 or 18-year-old sibling can watch a 13-year-old sibling as long as they're appropriate. We're not checking for birth certificates or anything like that. Uncle, aunt, or friend, as long as someone is responsible for the kids in the room, that is fine. And then there is a curfew as well, I believe. I'll have to check with Lainey. I think 11 p.m. anybody under 12 is kicked out of the game room, and I'll be sure and post that. I think it's in the forums from our last cruise. You can also look at that, or it might be in the wiki. But as long as kids are well behaved, it's generally not an issue. Okay. Sorry, Debbie. It's an early morning in Puerto Rico. You just have to go to bed early the night before. Okay. Who's going to the Hard Rock in Puerto Rico? I need a t-shirt. Okay, well, work that out. Can't find it again. Do kids have to be out of the game room at a certain time every night? Yeah, I just mentioned that. I'll look at what that is. I think it's probably 11. It's either 10 or 11 p.m. and it's kids, basically kids badges, I think is what the threshold is. If you have an adult badge, which is 12 and up, you can stay later. But under 12 has to be out earlier. And I might be wrong on those, and we'll work it out through the forums or email to get exact. There will be water in the game room. Checked out games can be played anywhere. So when you're in the game room, we actually don't do any check-in, check-out for anything in the game room itself. Just go grab the shelf, pull it off, play it, put it back. If you're going to take a game out of the game room, we do have a sign-out sheet. So sign out the game that you're taking, and then you can go play it anywhere on the ship. If you be careful with it, don't lose any pieces, but we don't care, and then just bring it back when you're done playing it. Okay, any other questions for Puerto Rico? I don't see any there. Let me scroll up real quick. All right, next question from Sly Fox. If there isn't an RCI app for communication, will you be setting up some sort of group messaging app? So what we will do for sure is have a whiteboard in the game room to leave messages for each other on. We'll have a whiteboard for us as staff to make announcements to everyone. We ask that you check that once a day. And then a whiteboard you can leave messages for each other on. That's fine. We will probably set up a Slack channel, maybe. I don't see any reason why we couldn't set up a Slack channel. I don't use Discord, but that would do the same thing, and it's probably the same thing. Someone could set one of those up. That will be dependent, though, on someone having internet, and not everyone will have internet. On a cruise ship, internet is not cheap. So when you're in port, you'll find certain places that advertise free Wi-Fi. And you need to figure out with your cell phone provider what you're going to do. I would recommend turning off cellular data roaming unless you have a package already. Otherwise, you're going to get hit with some hefty fines, or hefty fees, I should say. It's, technology on a cruise ship is not, like on land. So be sure and do your research for whatever you need to do there. All right. Have you ever been on behind the scenes cruise ship tour? Is it worth it? Do they get technical into the engine room, etc.? I have done one tour where we got to go into the galley. I don't think I've ever seen anybody allowed into the engine room. There is a on the bridge tour, and the day we got the ship tour into the galley and whatnot, it was too foggy to let us onto the bridge. So I have done it, and it was very interesting. I don't know if it's worth it to you. It costs a little bit, but it's a cool thing to see. Yeah, I think it was on Harmony that, no, it was on Explorer when we did the preview cruise on Explorer. That's when we got the behind the scenes tour. So on this ship might be even more worth it. This is the largest cruise ship in the world. It's a foot longer than Harmony was, or something, to make it the longest one, but it's the same size as Harmony. And it'd be really cool to see. All right, that is Puerto Rico. Let's go to day 6, Labadee. All right, let's go back here, and let's see, what else do we have? Some other pictures here. Okay, so this is a picture of, this was probably after we got back from Puerto Rico or something. That afternoon, we played Wingspan. This is the game room. This is not our conference center game room. This is the ship's card room, I think they call it. Every ship has a card room where you'll find half a copy of Scrabble and maybe Clue and Monopoly, probably some bingo and regular decks of cards. It's also their library, free, leave a book, take a book, kind of check out a book to read. This is actually the best card room I've seen on any royal ship. They had fantastic tables, nice, good-sized square tables, and a nice big round table here. And it was generally fairly open. I think one time we played a game and it got full, but we didn't have too much trouble and had a great time. And so if you want to go play somewhere else, this is a great option. So really, really good option there. Okay. Do they let you donate games? I've never really asked or put, or asked about it. You could put something on there. Yeah. So, next picture. Oh, yes, this is Hero. I did not take any pictures of it, but it is, I don't think I took any pictures. Did I? Yeah, but it was amazing. No. Okay. Labadee. So, day 6 on Labadee. All right. We had originally planned a group shore excursion for every port, and we struggled. What are we going to do in Labadee? Well, okay, there's this cultural experience that sounded good for our group, and it is a great shore excursion, and we took it. Some pictures here. I'm going to talk through the excursion, and then I'll talk about why we decided to cancel it as a group, but still could be worth doing individually. All right. Labadee, just so you know, it's a compound. It's a little section of Haiti that has kind of been fenced off and leased to Royal Caribbean specifically. So there's no other cruise ships here. We are the only ship in port, basically, and it's private just for Royal Caribbean. And I'm pretty sure they don't do more than one ship per day. At least when we were there, we were the only ship there. They set up a great barbecue for everybody on board the ship on the island. It's kind of a beach day. There's beaches around in different areas here. There's a great big zip line. There's a roller coaster. There's just different things that Royal Caribbean has put in to make it a fun day. If you've seen any of the promotional materials for Perfect Day at Coco Cay, or Coco Key, depending on how you pronounce it. That's similar to Castaway Key that I've been to before. That's a Bahama Island licensed to Disney. Coco Key is a Bahama Island licensed to Royal Caribbean. So a lot of these cruise ships will kind of set up their own private port, and they have a captured audience. The nice thing is there's not a ton of, it's not like every other port in town where you've got, inundated with shopping on the first street at the port. I don't think there's any shopping here at all because it's all just for Royal set up. But they set up a barbecue lunch for everybody and a beach for everyone. So there are a half dozen shore excursions that leave from here. Ours did take us into Haiti proper. So we get on this catamaran here, La Belle Creole, fits 50 people, nice and tight on there. We ended up being in the back of the boat out in the sun. Most of it is covered, as you can see, but there's one row that's back out in the sun, which wasn't too bad. The ship moves at a pretty good pace, so you get a wind going. This is a picture back of the symphony back there. And then you get some history of Haiti as you go along the coast. And we were on the boat for, I don't know, half hour?
Maybe 20 minutes, half hour.
Yeah, something like that. And it's scenic. It's pretty. You get to see the side of Haiti. You don't, on this excursion, you get outside the fence, but it is still into kind of another private area. So this is us pulling into, this is the, you can't see what I'm pointing to, but you were coming into the private cove here. And it's a private beach, which was very nice. It's not, unfortunately, not accessible in the sense that you walk in from the ship. This is kind of, I have not stepped off the boat yet. And then this is Christine and our 2 adult daughters that are walking in. The water was very warm.
It was great.
It was great. It was not, not a problem at all.
But yeah, it's a ladder down into the water, and you're walking from the back of the boat to the beach.
Up to the beach. And this is a private beach just for the 50 of us. And then there's a little walking tour. If you can't, here off to the side, we kind of walk up into these hills just a little bit. We walk up and then around and come back down for the cultural part of the tour. You get one free punch, and they have alcoholic and non-alcoholic versions, so you get your first one free, and then they have a bar set up where you can buy more of them, more drinks if you want. And we're here for maybe an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's a couple hours.
Couple hours. The walking tour takes about 45 minutes or so, and I do have some pictures of that. They've got set up, sugar cane and other things to see. You're walking up steps and cobblestones like this. It's not a difficult walk by any means. It's not a difficult hike. Unfortunately, it's not scooter or wheelchair friendly. At all. There is some elevation to it, but it's not hard. And you come up and they have set out kind of, here's how Haitians build their houses up in the countryside out of adobe and bamboo and whatnot. And so it's a little teaching village. And you learn kind of some of the different things that they do. Making peanut butter and roasting cocoa beans. Here they're working on...
it was a flatbread.
It was a flatbread, yeah. And they gave us all a piece of the flatbread to try. And that was really nice. Just some examples of it. There's lots more to see here. This is kind of 2 or 3 places, and there's probably 5 or 6 different stations or different things that they're showing off.
They are stations. You could walk it briefly and
it
would be fine.
It's clearly set up for the tourists. It felt a little pasted on, but still culturally interesting. Mm-hmm. Great excursion. This here is actually from our cabin now back into Labadee, and so right here is where we got on that La Belle Creole and sailed off from. And then you've got kind of your information desk and where the shore excursions are. And then we go back up this way, and there's the zip line is up here, and the roller coaster back here, and the barbecue lunch is set up in this area. You wind back around, and this is one of the beaches. There's one beach that's set aside for, you know, the guests who are staying in suites or are, you know, Pinnacle members, and then there's the public beach over here to the side over here. You can rent. They actually had a little. We didn't go over to this side here, but they had like some watercraft, some bounce houses in the middle of the water kind of things. It's so here's why we decided to cancel the group shore excursion. If the excursion interests you, absolutely do it. It's fantastic. As a group, for us to do it as a group, we had to book the whole catamaran fixed price. And in fact, since there was no way for us to make any money on it, I'll just share you, because you know I don't keep, you know, I'm, as you know, this is not a profit center for BGG. We do these cruises because we like to cruise and we like to board game, but we're not making any money on it. And so we were going to pay $4,000 flat to do that excursion, and we could only get 50 people on there, and that's $80 a person if everybody paid, you know, full price, and we got all 50 people there and sold it out. We've only had about 30 people or so sign up for it so far, and we were charging 80, or I think I went up to 89, but still, I mean, we couldn't break even at that unless we sold like 45 of the cabins. Royal, when we did this excursion ourselves, we paid kind of the full price day of, and that was $79. And on sale, you could get it for $75. So it's cheaper when you don't do it as a group. When Royal puts a premium on you all being together as a group, which I have to fight against, but there is that premium built in. And so it's cheaper to do it yourselves. And so we were going to lose too much money trying to do it as a group. The other reason you may not want to do it is, like I said, Labadee is kind of a beach day. There's a free barbecue out there. And when we did it, it was like 10:30 to 1:30.
Which is the best time to do it. It's cooler in the day.
Right. The other one they offer is like 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock or something, or 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. And it's just going to be super hot. The problem with 10:30 to 1:30 is you miss the free barbecue, or you get back at the tail end of it. We got back and we went and talked with somebody, and so we didn't quite get back in time to get the free barbecue. We got, you know, they did have sandwiches. They had sandwiches and salads left over for people who missed it, were doing other things, but I kind of wanted to do the barbecue. So that's another reason based on timing why you might not want to do it. So long story short, that's kind of why we've decided to cancel the group excursion experience. Still recommended as an individual with all of those things in mind. And Piratetunes is now, we're going to get, everyone gets a copy, or at least every cabin gets a copy, and or family. If you've, you know, we're trying to set up that every game collection gets a copy, so to speak. We have a couple of families that are sharing 2 cabins. We'd ask that maybe you only take one, or, you know, if we got 2 individuals that are happen to be sharing a cabin and they have their own game collections, we'll try to get you both a copy, but I can't promise that. It'll depend on how many extras we have. Okay, let's check for questions.
How far did you get?
I got down to behind the scenes tour.
We did do a behind the scenes tour for the theater, and that was really good.
Oh, you did the behind the scenes tour. You weren't here. I talked about on the Explorer, we did the galley tour.
Yeah.
But you did it behind the scenes on this ship, right? So, with the girls. Why don't you talk about that? Because I did not do that. I forgot that you did that.
Well, they had one, and they said it was... The deal is, if you look on the Royal app, they say it's for suite guests, but I don't know that they're checking your status. So if you manage to get in on it, you'd probably be okay. We got to meet a couple of the actors, and we got to see the dressing room, and got to ask them some questions about life as an actor on the ship. And for the actors, it's very different than being a crew member. So you know, you get that kind of a deal.
Yeah.
The other back behind the scenes ones that you can pay for, I'm sure they're fantastic. You know,
And that's what they were asking about, is
yeah,
those paid for ones. And it's not exactly that one. Well, it might be what you're talking about, Debbie. Insider View for Hairspray. There is a
that
charge
one's
for it.
different than the sweet one.
Yeah, so don't talk too much about the sweet one, because we don't want to
Yeah.
make people feel bad because they're not in suites. So.
Well, I did say they might be able to get in anyway.
Well, we can't say that, because then the cruise ship is going to come yelling at me that all of my people are crashing things.
Yeah,
So,
that's true. Anyway.
But yeah, the tours are worth the money if you're thinking about it. I think they're worth it. They're worth doing. You get to see some really cool things. Okay, we talked about better games. Okay. Was it cold at night to watch Hero? It was not cold at night at all. And August is going to be even warmer, but we were never, I mean, I don't think I even took a jacket.
No.
Never put it on.
No.
Yeah.
The only thing that will change the Hero show specifically is if there's too much wind, they might adjust the performances that they do. Some of the acts that are in the show,
Yeah.
if there's too much wind. But other than that,
there was going to be one more water event for us on the last day of sailing, day 7, but they had a problem with the water elevator, so to speak, and so that got canceled. But it was a minor thing. We had already seen Hero, so that was fine. Sly Fox asks, do you sign up for an excursion to go to Labadee for the barbecue, zipline, etc., or can we just get off the ship and hang out and pay for whatever we want? Yes, you can get off the ship and go to the barbecue. No problem. You don't sign up for that at all.
and
The
most
zip
of the
line,
beaches you can just walk to as well. You shouldn't have any issues with that.
Yeah,
'Cause
the beaches.
It's a Royal Caribbean owned port,
yeah,
so
you just walk to that. At every port, you can check out a towel as you walk off the ship and then check it back in, because you use your card to do it, and it's free unless you don't bring the towel back, and then they'll charge you $25. The zip line, you might need to book that ahead of time. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. I know that you can book it ahead of time. I don't know if it's required to book it ahead of time. Okay. How do you get to the public beaches? Here in Labadee, you just walk off the ship, and they're just right there. There's signs everywhere that point you to it. The other ports, St. Martin, San Juan, you can always take a taxi out to a public beach somewhere.
yeah.
Okay. Do they check their beaches to make sure people are back on the boat before they leave? In Labadee, I believe they do kind of a sweep to get everybody back in, and it's fairly well contained. Like I said, we did not get all the way out here, but I think they kind of bring everybody back and announce everybody, get back on board the ship. But I can't promise that. In Labadee, I would think they would, but I don't know for sure. You might get left behind, and if you get left behind there, it could be a problem. Now, there is permanent staff there in Labadee. In fact, the group the shore excursion person on board the ship, actually, that I met with, and she spent some of her time just permanently in Labadee. Okay, so that is Labadee. Let's see, give a minute or two for any other Labadee questions to come in here.
The big house in the picture, I believe that might be a information
This
center.
desk right here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's an information center, and might be.
Yeah.
There might be a small museum inside.
Possibly. There was a gift shop in here, now that I think about it. I was trying to remember if there's any shopping, but there was a little gift shop here.
There's a gift shop everywhere.
Yeah,
but...
well, this is not like your regular, it's not like your regular cruise port where you've got Diamonds International and everything right across.
Yeah, no, there's not that.
I think half of this was an information desk, and the other half was a gift shop of some kind.
No.
Okay. Other pictures here. Let's see. That is more of Haiti out there. And this was the Escape the Rubicon. So on the Harmony, the Rubicon was a sci-fi kind of adventure. This one is a little more steampunk submarine. I won't spoil anything, but it was very good. I enjoyed it quite a bit. And we did get out. I don't think it was anything to do with the room. About 20 minutes in, the power had a glitch, and it was like ship's power had a glitch. We did this kind of right as we were leaving Labadee. Ship's power had a glitch, and so the internal clock reset on the room itself. And so our guide had to, he kind of kept time separately, and we got out with like 3 minutes to spare. But it was very good. How many people in the escape room at a time? We did, there was the 4 of us, and then there was another family of 4. So 8, I believe.
I think they can go up to 10.
Possibly up to 10. I don't remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was, and we booked it day of, or the day before. Now, we also booked it at a time where people were in port. I think we booked it for 5:30, which was the same time for all aboard from Labadee. So it was kind of a downtime, but did good. And it was a good puzzle room. Yeah.
Leave it.
I'm going to leave it at that. All right. Let's see. More pictures of us there.
That's Flight.
That is Flight, and I don't want to really spoil any much more of Flight, but Flight was awesome. Go to Flight. Well,
go to Flight.
Flight was very enjoyable. I guess I had higher expectations. That's probably what it was.
You were looking for something different.
Yeah.
But it was
fun.
technically a really cool show.
It was a cool show. It was mostly music review. There wasn't a whole lot of airplanes around it. Other than that was kind of the pasted on theme. That's not quite true. There was some airplane kinds of stuff, but mostly a music review through the ages.
No ice skating on that one. It's in the theater with Hairspray.
Yeah, that's in the main theater where they have all those shows.
And just a heads up on the Hairspray Flight thing. Hairspray will be on all of the shows for Hairspray will be in either the first half or the last half of the week. They don't spread it out throughout the week because of the set requirements for both shows.
Yeah.
So if you're going to see Hairspray and you're saying, well, I'll wait till the end of the week, you don't do that.
It won't come back.
When it's gone, it's gone.
Yep.
And so for Flight, the same thing. So whenever those two swap, that's how that's going to work.
Okay. Day 7 is cruising. If you've not cruised with us before, day 7, around mid-afternoon, we'll start to pack up the library because we have to get it all packed up and out of there. We'll have to check. We won't have the whole game room. We're not guaranteed to have any of the game room after the farewell reception. Again, there is a farewell reception that night, day 7 or 7:30. One of them's at 7, the other one's at 7:30, and I think it's
the welcome versus the goodbye.
I think the welcome is at 7 and the farewell is at 7:30, but we'll finalize that. There's no guarantee we'll have any gaming space after that, but every year so far they've been able to give us at least a quarter or half of the ballroom to continue to play games that we've brought on our own. But we will pack that up. You will either walk your own luggage off the ship the next day, or you'll set your luggage outside. If you were with us in Alaska, Seattle had a check your luggage all the way through your airline flight. So we set our baggage out the night before and didn't see it until we got back to Texas. Unfortunately, that is not available in Miami. So you are going through customs like normal. We didn't have a lot of baggage and chose to take it off ourselves, piece of cake. If you did set your luggage out the night before and then pick it up in customs, that also worked very easily. Getting through customs, at least for U.S. citizens, was a no-brainer. We did not fill out a declaration form at all. We did not show our passport to anybody. We walked off the ship, rolling our bags, and got to a face scanner and walked right through. That was it. We didn't talk to anybody. And so they've gone fully digital at Terminal A for the Symphony of the Seas. Piece of cake. It was 5 minutes and we were catching a taxi to get back to the airport. If you buy a transfer, you don't have to buy it from us. It's a little, I don't know if it's cheaper or not if you do. It's probably cheaper if you do it ahead of time. You can do it on board the ship if you want, or like we talked about earlier, if you buy one of those shore excursions that take you to the airport, that's nice too. And then you don't have to worry about luggage either for that. Okay, let's talk about last day and getting off. What time do we get the game space on Friday for those of us arriving day early? Officially, it's not till like 6 p.m., I think, 6 or 7 p.m. I'll have to look.
At the Hyatt.
At the Hyatt. We're talking about the Hyatt now. Christine and I actually arrive on Wednesday based on our flights. We're going to get to Miami fairly early, and we might go down to the Keys on Thursday or something and just, bum around. I'll find out when I'm there, and I'll try and get it as early as we can for Friday. But no promises earlier than about 7 o'clock, but it might be better than that. What time did you disembark? We got off around 8 or so.
They will start disembarking around 7.
Yeah.
And so especially if you're taking your luggage off by yourself, you can get off as early as 7.
Yeah. We went and got something to eat in the Windjammer for breakfast.
Yeah.
And then got off between 8 and 9.
Yeah.
Wasn't bad.
You do have to be out of your rooms and either in a waiting area or on your way off the ship by about 9:30.
Or earlier than that. I think it's 8.
No, it's usually about 9:30.
Okay.
So just make sure that you have everything packed and ready to go.
It might be on here.
But there are waiting rooms if you've chosen to set your bags out, and then you get a tag and it'll tell you a number and you just follow the instructions there. If you're just walking off, you just take your bags and you walk off. And so yeah.
Yeah, I don't see it on the tips for easy departure about when you have to be out. But, the last departure off the ship is 9:30. Or that's when the departure lounges are exiting. So, yeah, I mean, by 9:30, everybody's off the ship. So you have to be out of your stateroom earlier than that.
Yeah. By 9 at the latest.
Yeah.
So
we'll find out. It'll be, advertised to us. You can't fly home earlier than like 11 if you're taking one of our transfers. I think our flight was 11, and we had no problem getting a taxi out in time.
But you don't want it any earlier than that, just because you need to allow time to get to the airport, and who knows what traffic will be like getting from the port to the airport and all of that.
All right. Is it okay to bring friends and family in the area for the Hyatt open gaming, or is it guests only? Friends and family are just fine. Anybody. Nobody's got a badge yet, so anybody can game with us, and we should have plenty of room there. For the Hyatt, just ask for the BGG room. I've got the name of the room. We'll pull that up. Email. We'll put that in an email for everybody. It's kind of right close to the front desk area. This video will be available for later viewing, available on Twitch almost immediately, and then I will export it over to my YouTube channel in a little bit, maybe tomorrow or later this week. From what you saw, were they strict with the 14 and under rule for the escape room? Was it scary?
It is not scary.
I don't know if they were strict or not. I didn't see. Everybody that I was with was an adult. But there was nothing scary about it.
No.
I think it's more just following rules and not breaking things, like that. So, but I don't know how strict they will be.
And some of the puzzles might be a little more complicated.
Oh, yeah, don't worry about that.
But Yeah.
Is there transportation set up from the Hyatt to the port? I am working on that. I don't have the details yet. All right, any other questions coming in? We're going to talk about 2020 and maybe even 2021.
No.
I said I would.
All right.
I told my Royal Caribbean contact today to get me the contract for 2020. I don't have it yet, but I think we have everything worked out. It is going to be the repositioning cruise to Japan, sailing out of Vancouver on September 4th, 2020, cruising for a day, and then we go to Juneau, Alaska, Sitka, Alaska. We will have a welcome reception on that first day out of Vancouver. We cruise for 7 days in the middle. Right in the middle of that, we will have another reception, free reception for everyone. And then we get to Sapporo, Japan for 2 days. We're in Sapporo. And then on Friday the 18th, we go to Hakodate, Japan, cruise for another day, and then Tokyo on Sunday, September 20th. We get off in Tokyo 7 a.m. Sunday the 20th. If you fly back that same day, you'll actually arrive on Saturday. You'll come back across the date line, depending on time and whatnot. So, but that is the plan. You've seen what I've posted in the forums about potential pricing. Once I actually have a contract in hand, we'll get the final pricing. We'll see where it's at. We will. I'm not sure yet if we're going to start taking deposits until after we get back from the cruise in August, where a lot of things are going right now. It's some logistics to get things worked out. We're also there's a lot of busy things happening behind the scenes related to the store, other Bgg events, things like that. So I don't know if I'm ready to take deposits yet, but everyone will have plenty of notice when deposits will go live. And this one may sell out. There's been a lot of interest. It is 2 weeks long, and I am going to caution people. There's a lot of reasons why you should not do this cruise. If it's your first cruise, you need to really know what you're getting into, because it's this one is 2 weeks long, and it's across the Pacific. It's on a smaller ship, and it's in September, all of which will probably make the boat move a little more than normal. Now, if you've got the patches or the, garlic wristbands or take the drugs or whatever for motion sickness, you should be okay. But I just want to caution everybody to know what they're getting into. Recommended for experienced cruisers only. Now, I'm not going to make that a requirement or anything, but I'm going to try and let you know what you're getting into. It's also a little bit different in that we don't have the dedicated game room that we're used to. It's going to be a lot smaller, so we're going to be gaming in the restaurant when we can. We're going to be gaming in the Windjammer. We don't have it dedicated to us, but we're just kind of gaming other places on the ship. I think it'll be fine. We're going to try it as an experiment. So next year, the cruise to Japan is going to be a little more experimental. Also, your flight home from Japan, depending on where you live, may be more expensive than your cruise ship ticket to get there. But you need to factor that in, because that's not built into the cost. So that is plans for 2021. I'm sorry, 2020. 2021, we don't have anything set yet. We are still talking about Hawaii. We're also looking at, the problem with Hawaii is, again, it's not in the middle of the summer, which we try to put these in the middle of the summer because, it's easier for vacation schedules and whatnot. I'm looking at a potential middle of the summer Mediterranean cruise. Barcelona round trip, including other parts of Spain, France, and Italy, including Rome. Or what I'm going to try to do is they do have an option where that same itinerary, instead of Barcelona to Rome back to Barcelona, some people can get on the ship in Rome and then go to Barcelona and back. So it's the same itinerary, you just get on and off the ship in Rome for 7 days. And I'm going to try and get that option because I've never been to Rome and I really want to go there. I have never been to Barcelona, but I do speak Spanish, and I love paella, so there's that too. So that's something. There's no guarantees yet. We haven't even gotten to the point of a proposal or contract on that, but that is kind of what we're thinking about for 2021. All right, let's go back in and catch up some questions. Was the cruise full? Did it feel crowded? So every cruise ship sails full. That's just what they do. I didn't know this until I had lunch with my Royal Caribbean folks, but there is a standby line for cruise ships. Now it might be, guests or family of employees only. I don't know how you get to be in that standby line, but they said literally you will have people in line with luggage waiting to get on the ship, and they get back to so far in that line, and then it sails, and then ship's full. So just like for an airplane, there is a standby line. So every ship sails full. Now, this ship is huge. It holds a lot of people. However, it is huge. It doesn't feel full. I never felt crowded, and I don't do crowds very well. The older I get, the less I like. It's not that I'm claustrophobic. I just don't like being in a big crowd of people. Only when we were leaving Hero, maybe, or some big thing that had a lot of people that ended at a specific time, did you really notice a lot of people. There are certain times where the elevators, are packed full. Debarkation day. You're going to wait a while to get an elevator because everyone's got their luggage in the elevator going down. We chose, I think we were only 3 decks up, we just took our luggage down the stairs. My rule of thumb is if it's 3 decks above or below, I'm going to take the stairs, just, for healthy and whatnot. If it's 5 or 10 decks, well, I actually did walk 5 decks one time. Yeah. And I think I actually did 8 decks once because I was running late and whatever, but generally I'll ride the elevators. Other than debarkation day, or maybe like right after a show ended and everybody wants to go take the elevator, I never really had problems with the elevators. Plenty of room. Didn't feel crowded. When we walked the boardwalk, it didn't feel overly crowded. We didn't go to, they throw a party every night on the main drag, on the main boardwalk, on the promenade. And we didn't go to those parties, but sure, those will feel full. But the ship is big enough that there's enough different places to go to that you don't feel like it's always crowded. All right. Bgg group excursion in Tokyo.
Still to be determined.
Yeah, unlikely, especially Tokyo with that being our debarkation day. Now, we will probably stay a few days extra and tour Tokyo.
We'll talk.
But I probably won't do many group excursions on next year's cruise. Something I learned from my experience this year, a group excursion only really works if it's something truly unique and different. Like the Puerto Rico one that we're doing. And like I said, we canceled Labadee, and I'm fighting with Royal Caribbean a little bit on pricing for St. Martin. I'm not happy about the group upcharge. I'm kind of moving away from group shore excursions unless it's something really interesting, really unique, and or I'm not on the hook for, pricing if, I don't want to do a fixed price kind of a thing. Okay.
Lineups for theater. Not horrible, and you could probably get in as long as there's a seat.
Yeah, we're lineups long to get into the theater. We need to remember to read the questions because when this is on YouTube, they won't see the chat. So we're the lineups long to get into the theater shows. No, not really. I mean, we would get in 15, 20 minutes early just to get a better seat if you cared about that, but there's usually plenty of room.
If you had a reservation, they would check to make sure you had a reservation and you could get in. And it's better if you get there about 30 minutes early. It's still first come, first served seating. Now, at about 10 minutes before the show, they open up the standby line. So if you have a reservation but you're not there 10 minutes before, you run the risk of coming in with everybody else in the standby line.
Yep. All right. We'll give it another minute or two for any additional questions. Are all the seats in the theater decent? Sly Fox asks. I would say yes. They are all decent. Mm-hmm. We sat right up front close for a couple of shows. We sat further back for others. There's no really obstructed views or anything.
In the back of the Royal Theater, there are some columns, but they try really hard to keep those the seats that are around them relatively unobstructed.
Yeah.
And I think the same can be said for the ice show. There's a couple places where there's some columns. So, I mean, you'll want to watch for that, but it's
generally
you'll
you
still
won't
be
have a
able
problem.
to see the show.
Yeah, you'll have a great experience with the show. All right. Confirmed, there are no rooms in the block for Hyatt in Miami at this time. Okay, I've got it on my list to take care of that. My next 2 days are very busy, but I probably have a chance to make a phone call tomorrow while I'm on the road, and we'll see if I can. I'll see if I can get some more rooms added. I had no idea how many people would want to take advantage of that, because I know we do have some locals and some people who like to stay elsewhere. Also, this is kind of a courtesy contract. I am not agreeing with the Hyatt to guarantee any set number of rooms. They've set it up as a courtesy, so we'll see if they offer any more or not. But I will try.
All right.
Okay.
We're hitting the 2-hour mark. It is time to be done.
Yeah, we're getting close. Hour 45. Any other questions or thoughts? Bring them in. I will point out again the forums. The forums for Bgg Sea. I am subscribed to the whole forum. I see everything that's posted there. I don't always respond to everything, but I do read everything, and I try to get to it. Occasionally I'll miss something. And then another reminder, please go and check out the order summary sheet. In fact, I'll bring that over here and just show you real quick and talk you through it, because I did have some questions about how that worked. So we'll bring that there, and then we will actually switch over to it. Cabin number. Hopefully you know your cabin number. If you don't know your cabin number, let me know. And you have an email with your cabin number and your confirmation number from Royal Caribbean. You need that number to go to Royal Caribbean's Cruise Planner and book all these shows we're talking about. Book all these shore excursions. Category type, the occupancy. How many people I think are in the cabin. Badges. If you've bought badges, how many? If it's in yellow on the registration form, you told me you were going to buy badges, but you have not bought them yet, or you have not bought enough yet. All right, St. Martin. How many in your cabin are doing St. Martin? Otherwise, a link to St. Martin. Arecibo, same thing. Labadee, I need to get rid of this column, but I need to go in and refund everybody. I have not done that yet. So if you've bought Labadee, you will be getting a refund for it. And you can go book Labadee directly now or very soon as I tell them to cancel it. Actually, I think we had booked the 1:30, so the 10:30 for Labadee is bookable right now. Travel protection, if you've bought travel protection, you must buy it. This number here must equal this number over here. You have to buy it for everybody in the cabin, and you have to buy the right level. It is based on the price of your cabin. So balcony is more expensive than interior. Suites are more expensive than balconies. Transfers, as I mentioned, the first number is how many have booked a transfer from the airport to the cruise port. The second number is how many have booked from the cruise port back to the airport. All right, internet packages. We have single device packages and we have double device packages. So this 2 right here could be that 2 people in the cabin each bought a single device package. Or it could be that 1 person bought a 2 device package, which is slightly cheaper than 2 singles. Effectively, it doesn't make a bit of difference either way. So when Christine and I went back in May, she bought a single device package. That is 1 device at a time. You can share that across multiple devices as long as only 1 device is connected at a time, and we did that often. In fact, all 4 of us with our 2 girls, hey, you need to get off so that I can do it. And in fact, when you get on, you have the opportunity to kick someone else off of the package when you get on. So that's how that worked, at least for us. Question about the internet packages. Bgg Store has it listed for $89 for 1 device, but RCI website has it $12 per day, $84 total for some days. Am I mistaken here?
Are they running a discount right now?
I believe they are currently running a sale that's undercutting me or matching me. I'll be honest, it could be that my price is the $84 and I just built in $5 for the pricing of what I have to do to book it all for you. That price, yeah, they're running a sale that's undercutting us just a little bit. That sale will go away at some point, and I know it's cheaper than you can do it online. So
On board, you mean?
On board the ship, it's going to be more expensive. I believe they are running a deal right now with a drink package and internet that is nothing I could even touch. I don't know if you know how, you don't know how cruise lines works.
Let's not get into that.
Yeah, but they undercut me. So anyway, you're probably not missing anything, and it could be cheaper to do it directly through Royal. If you want to go that way, that's fine. I have a minimum threshold I need to meet, which is 14 or 16 devices. It looks like
that's not good enough.
That's not right. Something. Oh, I was doing a little. Yeah, let me delete that. Okay, 27 devices. So we're good. If 16 devices, I don't get my discount. So you can book through me. You can book online. That's fine. I don't care either way. The drink package, I normally don't do drink packages. 1, I don't drink alcohol. And 2, you have to drink a lot of alcohol to make a drink package pay for itself. But you could look at doing that online. That's fine. No problem. Okay. It is a discount, but yeah, so looking at the internet package, so you're not mistaken there, it's not actually a discount, and that's because Royal Caribbean is running a sale basically at the same pricing they're giving me. What's the cutoff on booking transfers? July 1st. However, that's booking it through me. You can book a transfer, you can pay for the transfer day of, on board. You can, meet the Royal Caribbean representative in baggage claim at your airport, and they will put you on a bus right then and let you pay for it right there. And you can book a transfer back home on the ship while you're on board the ship. Like 2 days before we get back to Miami, you could book a transfer. But to book it through me, it's July 1st. All right. Sometimes the discount comes back. Yeah. So the discounting is all the revenue department at Royal Caribbean. I don't want to get into, but anyway. Okay.
That's it.
I think that's all the questions here. We're about to jump on a conference call with John and Laney for Board Game Geek events as a whole. Thank you all for being here. We are super excited. This is your last chance to throw in a question, but I can't think of anything else.
You talked for 2 hours straight. Seriously, if there isn't anything you haven't covered, we're in trouble.
All right. Throw questions to me via email in the forums. Like I said, we're really looking forward to seeing y'all. So thanks for everyone that was there in the chat. Thanks for all your help there. And we'll get this posted in the next day or two. You should be able to watch it on Twitch immediately, and it'll be on YouTube in a little while. Thanks, everyone. I think that's it.
Let's be done.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye.